Hello, guys. What's going on? I'm Rafael Begosso, and today I'm going to take you through the process of mixing a track called Let Her Know. It's a very good country pop track, and I had a lot of fun mixing it. Let's take a look. Let's take a listen to the final chorus of the track. It's a good idea to listen to that part first so you can have a good representation of the track. This is with all the plugins and all the adjustments and so on. So you see, it's a beat track, a very cool track for those who like this kind of style, kind of a country meets pop and meets rock. And it's a very well recorded track. So our job, it's much easier. I didn't use any samples at all. I just took the multi-track from the studio and started mixing. So the first thing I do is to import then in Studio One all the tracks, all the multi-tracks from the studio. Sometimes I color coded. This time I didn't. Just went for a straight Studio One system color, but it's kind of clear here the groups of instruments, the drums, then the bass, the acoustic guitars, the mandolins, the guitars, the electric guitars, the keys, and the vocals. All right. So after you import the track and take a listen to it, identify which track you are going to use, which track you are going to not to use. You have to gain stage it properly. So it's very easy to do that in Studio One. You go to this wrench icon and activate input controls. Then you have this stream control as well as phase. You should check the phase of multi-instrument recorded instruments. All right. You have to be very careful how you can stage that. The ideal is to not be over -10 here on your master track. All right, on your stereo bus, master track, whatever. And especially if you're going to use emulations, analog emulation plugins like this one, for example, a channel strip by API, you have to be very careful how your audio reaches this plugin, because if it goes too hot, it might not work well. All right. So now let's take a listen to the final chorus again. But this time I'll deactivate all the plugins and we are going to listen just to the gain staging, the balance with the faders. That's the second thing you should do. And the panning. All right, let's get to it. What a difference. Let me know in the comments if you can listen to this huge difference between what we've heard before and this version. Last thing, to organize your session, I think it's important that you create buses for each group of instrument. So you have a drum bus, bass bus, acoustic guitar bus, which also uses mandolins. All right, this is the acoustics. Electric guitar bus, keys bus, kind of a woodwind bus because you have a whistle. Lead vocals, lead vocals bus, and then background vocals bus. All right. After that, I'll go to my master bus. So here I used the NLS from Waves. It's kind of a console emulation. Let's take a listen to without it and then with it. Pay attention to the bypass button. When it's blue like this, they are active. When it's gray like this, it's not active. All right? So I'm using the spike setting of the plugin. That's kind of an emulation from an SSL console, and just adjusting here the drive. All right, just to have some analog console feel. Then my master compressor, my bus compressor, again by Waves. This is the SSL compressor. Let's take a listen. Again, pay attention to this button. Milliseconds attack, kind of a fast release, and adjusting the threshold 4:1 ratio is my favorite setting for this plugin. And you can see it's not that much, less than 4 dBs of gain reduction. All right. Now, kind of a secret sauce. It's the black box from Plugin Alliance. This is kind of a emulation from, it's not an emulation, it's a series of analog hardwares all in one. So I like to use this mix bus preset and tweak it, especially the saturation knob. All right, let's take a listen to it. Pay attention to the button. All right, it just opens up the sound a little bit more. Then I have 2 Ozone plugins. First one, it's Exciter to open up even more the sound. Pay attention here. Little bit on each band. It's very little that this does, and it should be. Exciters should not be used in high amounts. All right. Now, I also have an imager, again, just to widen the sound and to use a little bit more of the analog feel. Without it. The next plugin, it's vintage tape. All right, just again to have a little bit more of an analog feel. Pay attention here. And the rest of my master bus will come back after we talk about the individual tracks, because it makes more sense like this. All right, see you later. So I usually start with drums, especially in this kind of song, and I don't like to adjust the overhead, the kick, and the snare first. I go to the overheads, and it's a a better representation of the drum sound. These overheads are very well recorded, overheads and drums and room sounds, all right? Because I think they are the real sound of the drums, especially in this kind of music. Let's listen to the overheads without any plugins. Now, I used API channel strips in this mix a lot because I think that it's a very upfront sound, a very punchy sound, but a very, very controlled sound also. So you have lots of controls here. I'm not going to detail of each control. Just pay attention to the input gain, the filters here. I'm not using the gate here, especially for the overheads. Pay attention to the compression. This is the amount of that the sound will be compressed, and the EQ. Here I'm taking a little bit of 150 and taking a little bit of 140 also. I'm sorry. I'm taking a little bit of 300 and I'm taking a little bit of 700. I misread here. Let's take a listen. Without it. I'm going to bypass only the EQ, much boxier and dark sound because of these two bands, all right? And then I also use the Fab Filter Pro Q after that, taking a little bit more on the mids and a little bit on the highs. The great thing is that it's in dynamic mode here, so it doesn't take everything from the sound or from that frequencies. It just establishes a threshold, and if it passes, it goes up that amount, it reduces. It's a very, very, very clever way of dealing with frequencies. Now, our room sounds. First room sounds like this. Just a Pro Q, again, with a lot of dynamics, taking this nasty region of 130 and boosting a little bit here on the 6K region, just to have the more crack from the snare. And an 1176 blackface, compressing quite a bit. With the overhead, it sounds like this. This is a more close room sound, and we have also a more further set of microphones in these other rooms here. You see, you can really hear the room here. So, Fab Filter. Taking again a little bit on the low mids here, dynamic settings, and boosting around 2K to have more presence, and attenuating the highs. And on 1176, this time the blue face because it has a more grittier sound. With the other room and the overhead, it sounds like this. Very, very nice drum sound. And then you can put the close mics, to reinforce some instruments. Let's take a look to the kick. Just 1073, boosting the lows, just to give more a beefier sound. Without it. Then on 1176, blackface, compressing it. Not that much. And a Pro Q. Even more beefy sound. This song asks for it. And also accentuating the click sound from the kick. Now, my snare, particularly delicate sound. It has to be present throughout all the song, and I like a punchy snare. So a little bit of the highs on the 1073, a lot of the low end to give more body to the snare. Without it, with it. 1176, this time the anniversary edition. Not that much compression. And a Pro Q doing some crazy dynamic EQ to give even more body and crack to the snare. Now the snare bottom, again 1073. This time I don't want the low end, I just want the highs and the mids. And at 1176, the blue face. Then the hi-hats and the toms, solo them. Let's take a listen to the toms again, just by themselves. Right? Without plugins, the toms. And the hi-hat with no plugins. Just the hi-hat, no toms. And with the plugins. Now all drums and percussion. Now, a little bit of processing on the drum bus. I use this fabulous reverb called Cinematic Rooms. Even if you are not into film music, you should take a look at it. I'm using a live room, brick drum, and tweaked a little bit of this preset. So with this reverb, it sounds like that. Very, very nice sound. I like this reverb a lot. And then some lexicon, some large hall B on this. Just a little bit. And finally compressing the drum bus. So let's take a listen to the bass now. On the bass DI, I used just the API Vision channel strip. Let's take a listen without the channel strip when it's grayed, and then I'll activate it halfway through. Little bit of the highs. Also here, it's taking off low mids. And then the bass amp, in the bass amp, I used the 1176 with these settings, a lot of low end, less mid, and a little bit of high. All right. Basically, my low end from the bass is here on the amp, and my high end, the finger sound, it's more here on the DI. All right. Then I have a bass bus that I'm using a tape machine here, the stutter. It's just fatten up the sound. Then a little bit more compression with an LE2A. The gray version, I'm compressing quite a bit here. And finally, the Pro Q doing some slight adjustments here, taking off a little bit on the 60 hertz just to make room for the bass drum, also the low mids, and accentuating here a little bit of the 100s where the bass shines the most, and here also on the 7.5K. Let's take a listen to drums and bass. Very, very nice sound. Now let's go to the acoustics, acoustic guitar and mandolin. So let's take a listen to the acoustics by themselves. Use the API here. I'll activate it. Compressing a little bit, taking off 500 and also 200. 1176, more compression because it's kind of a heavy strummed guitar, and an imager just to widen up the sound, to leave room for center-based instruments like the bass, the kick drum, and the vocals. Now, so we have 2 mandolin tracks. Just the mandolins. I'm using the API again. This one is not playing here. Where does it play? Just in the intro. Compressing. Compressing. Taking off 200 and 500. Compressing. 4:1 ratio. A lot of gain. Let's take a listen to the other mandolin. Just similar settings, because I imagine it's the same instrument. It plays here, or here, or here, here. Compressing. 3 to 6 dB here on the Vision channel strip. This time I didn't take the 200, just to make a little difference, and boosted a little bit of the highs. And I'm now with the acoustic guitar and talking about the bus. I have a Fab Filter Timeless, which is a kind of a delay plugin. And a Lexicon digital reverb on the vocal plate setting. Now with the rest of our band up to now, so drums, bass and acoustics, guitar and mandolin. Let's take a listen to the electric guitars. So, electric guitars. Now here, they play here. I'm using an imager to make room in the center and a Fab Filter Pro Q to compress, because it's kind of, it can get a lot very annoying in the mix, this kind of high guitars, you know, you have to control it. Now guitar 2. Oops, it's here. Just guitar 2. Imager and compression. And our solo guitar, the solo is here. Just a EQ here to boost a little bit, to give more presence to the solo. Then a delay. And compression, transparent compression. All right, all guitars, electric guitars, I have them in their own bus. So let's take a listen to this bus, just boosting a little bit here on the bus also to give more presence. Compressing with LA3A from Waves. This is a favorite from electric guitars since CLA, Chris Lordage. And I also like it very much. Three to 5 dB of compression. And CLA Epic, just to have some delay and additional reverb. So as you saw, I didn't mess much with the sound of electric guitars, and this is very standard. The person who plays usually already chooses a lot of the sounds he or she wants in the track. All right. So everything we have been gone so far. So drums, bass, acoustics, and electrics. right, let's go to the keys and the whistle bus, both of them. The keys, I'm just processing them on the bus and panning. Take a look at the panning from other instruments also, the acoustics and the electrics and drums. Standard panning is the hi-hat. Let's take a listen to our keys. It's a Wurlitzer, electric piano, and an organ. Just attenuating the lows here on the pre-cue and giving a little bit of love in the highs. Transparent compression, especially for the piano. And a reverb. This time it's the Pro R from FabFilter. Kind of a piano hall. All right, very simple. Let's take a listen with the rest of our band. All right, so now the whistle, we called the woodwind bus. I'm sorry. I have the Neve on it. Let me find a spot here where it plays the whistle. Here, I think. Just giving a little bit of everything here. And compressing with an LA2A. Quite a lot. More than 5 dB. Not quite a lot. And on the bus, I have a Lexicon reverb. Vocal plate setting. And controlling here the dry wet mix, all right? With the rest of the band, all right, now let's take a look to the vocals. Now vocals, this is very special vocals. It's good, but it had a lot of plosives and also breaths. So I edit it manually for the excessive plosiveness. Used a little deep breath here from Isotope. Using the 1073 here to give a little bit of the highs, take the mids and take the lows also. Just to make it brighter. It has to be very upfront, this vocal, in this kind of music, you know? So you cannot have excessive plosiveness or excessive breathiness, all right? You have to take care of that. If you are going to have the vocal very loud in the mix, you have to take care of that. And to help you with that, we usually use a combination of two compressors. Kind of a fast attack VCA compressor and a kind of slow attack optical compressor. 1176, and then LA2A. Just the 1176. I think I called the 1176 a VCA compressor. That's just my brain not working very well with English. It's kind of a fat compressor, you know. The LA2A, it's an optical compressor. I said it right. Now, with the LA2A, it sits very well in the music like that. It's a very common combination, all right, for vocals. And then I have edited the S's and the plosives, as I said, but I'm using a final de-esser here. And there's a bus for the lead vocals also that I'm using a delay from FabFilter, the Timeless. I'm using another delay. One is giving more a thick sound. It's not a proper delay. This plugin is very, you can do anything you want with this plugin. It's just kind of a widener. And the other one is more delay effect. And to finish, Pro R for my reverb, just warm and wide preset, tweaked a little bit. All right, so our background vocals. There are a lot of background vocals here. I had some fader balancing and then panning here, and I used Imager on some of them just to get rid of the center of the mix and leaving room for the main vocal, and also the S's. Nothing very special, all right? The S's here also. There was a lot of S's problem. So I'll activate everything and just solo the background vocal bus, all right? Because it doesn't do much, but it takes a lot of the S's. Just the background vocals here. It's kind of choir almost quality. A lot of background vocals. Lows, mids, and highs. And then on the background vocal bus, I have an imager, very, very wide to leave room for the main vocal. Just beware when you do that kind of panning and widening, you have to lower that in the mix because it gets too prominent, all right? Then I have 1073 taking the mids and giving a lot of the high end, so without it. With it. An LA2A, the oldest LA2A, I think. It's called only LA2, actually. It's not the A version. Just to tame the sound. more the esser. It's almost an EQ here in this case, because it was too bugging me too much, the S's frequency. All right, and to finish up again our very, very cool reverb cinematic rooms. This time the Amethyst Hall, just a beautiful sound. Without it. With it, just big sound. So everything. All right, so let's get back to the final tweaks and the final master bus. So after I mix the song, this was a kind of 2-day job. I use a master EQ just to take off some of the nasty frequencies. Let's listen to the final chorus without it, and then I'll activate. Pay attention to this button. Yeah, it's especially a dynamic equalization here, taking the lows, the low mids, and also the mids a little bit, and boosting around 400 to make the vocal pop a little bit more. Let's listen again. And then a limiter. We are not mastering, but we want to hear the song loud. So that's just the mastering, and to avoid any clipping also. All right, and then I usually insert another Farb filter, but this one doesn't do anything, just to give me a visual feedback of the mix. Of course, we should always use our ears, but a visual feedback sometimes it's good. And the last plugin, it's just SonarWorks headphone calibration. I mixed the song with a Biodynamic DT990, and it has a correction curve here. All right, so let's take a listen to the final chorus and with this visual feedback here. And last thing, I did a bunch of automation here on some instruments, because this song has a more calm outro. Sometimes that can even not appear in the final version, but I let it happen here. But I had to automate a lot of the instruments so it doesn't sound weird, you know? Just piano, vocals, but I had to automate it. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for your attention. If you want to reach us through social media, through our website, or through our email, you have all this available to you. And I had a lot of fun mixing the song. It's a very good song. It's a very well-recorded song. It's a style that resonates with my own music taste. One of the styles I like the most. And that's it. See you guys on the next one.